this is a little nuanced, but I do want you to really sit with savings are meant to be spent. The purpose of currency, the purpose of money is to spend it. And that doesn't mean it just gives me carte blanche to go and spend all my money right now, because I want to spend money later too. I want to have money for emergencies, but I don't want you to get into this mentality of holding on. Hey, business owners, welcome back to the Wealthy Business Owner series, where we break down all the rules that you thought it meant to be good with money and show you how to instead become a wealthy business owner. Because being good with money is one thing, being a wealthy business owner is something completely different. Today, we're going to be talking about saving, one of my favorite topics. If you guys don't know, I had a program called Six Figure Saver for many, many years, and I spent years just talking about saving. So absolutely love this topic. And I'm so excited to bring it to you, especially in this series, because I think that there is a lot of nuances in saving. Okay. We already talked about spending, right? We already talked about spending, and we talked about how someone who's good with money thinks spending a lot of money is bad, spending less money is good. That kind of coincides here with saving as well, but I'm going to take it one step further in this episode. Someone who is good with money thinks savings are meant to be saved. Someone who's a wealthy business owner thinks savings are meant to be spent. That might go against everything that you have ever thought you knew about money, right? If you're anything like me with the immigrant family members, all my immigrant family members go, don't touch your savings, save for a rainy day, never use it, leave it in the bank, right? The entire messaging is don't touch your savings. And although there is a time and place for that, like I understand why that's the messaging, a wealthy business owner takes it a step further and realizes that savings are always meant to be spent. Let's actually just bring this up a level for a minute and talk about like the economy and commerce and currency at all. What is the job of money? What is the purpose of a dollar? The purpose of a dollar is for it to be spent. That is it, right? If we think about, and don't fact check me on this, please, but if we think about like historically, we had barter systems, right? I'll give you a bushel of apples for a fillet of salmon, right? We were exchanging goods or we were exchanging services, tit for tat kind of thing. We introduced currency to help with more complex transactions, right? I have a bushel of apples and John has a fillet of salmon, and Sally has a pile of wood, and we want to like mix them up between us. And I want a bit of the wood and a bit of the salmon and so on and so forth. Currency helps us create a placeholder for value that then we can use to exchange for value for goods and services. The entire purpose of money is to be spent, not to be saved. Because if it is saved, it is just stored value. Now, I'm not saying don't have savings. Follow me a little bit longer. Stored value. Imagine in this barter system, Sally has the wood and John has the salmon and I have the bushel of apples and I have a ton of money and I put it in a safe and I never use it. Then what is it good for? It's just money in a safe. It's nothing. It does nothing for me, right? So the entire job of money is to be spent. So when we think savings are meant to be saved, the person who's good with money thinks that. And what do? They save money and they keep saving more money and then they have money. And there's value in that. You have money for a rainy day, you have money for retirement, whatever. The problem is when we stop there, when we just go, savings are meant to be saved and then I'm just not going to touch it. The problem is when there is an opportunity to spend it in a way that is worthwhile, many people won't. When they believe savings are meant to be saved. I've seen this time and time and time again. Business owners sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're not spending and they're not growing their business and they're just sitting there. It is value, stored value that is doing nothing. Why? Because savings aren't meant to be touched, Gina. People who want to quit their jobs to start their business or to grow their company because they've maxed out on growing their company with the part-time hours they have, but they refuse to spend their savings to help them grow. So they stay in a dead-end job way longer than they should because savings are meant to be saved. I've literally seen, I know this sounds insane, for some of you, you're going to be like, who does that? But people do this. I have clients who have thousands of dollars in an emergency fund. They get a root canal and then they put it on a credit card because they don't want to use their savings. They don't want to let go of their cash. They would rather pay credit card level interest, which is 27% on their root canal, than just use their damn savings. So savings are not meant to be saved. Savings are always meant to be spent. Now, we do have to talk about timeline because there are certain things that savings are meant to be spent on and certain things that savings are not meant to be spent on, right? I have a lot of money in my investment accounts saved for my retirement. I am not intending to touch that money until I stop working. Anywhere from 55 to 70. I don't know when I'll want to stop working, but sometime later in my life, right? I am in my 30s right now. I am not going to be spending that money right now. That's not its job. Its job is for me to spend money later when I want to retire. So I'm not saying don't save money for later. I'm not even saying don't have an emergency fund. I'm saying wealthy business owners know when it's time to spend their savings. That is it. Wealthy business owners know when it is time to spend their savings. And there is a time and there is a place and there is a thing that you want to buy with it that makes the most sense, right? This goes back to the spending episode, right? What did I say in the spending episode? It is the most important skill. It is the most important skill. It's because of this. What do I want you to do? I want you to free yourself from the shackles of keeping money in your savings account forever. In business, I teach a 3 bank account process called the Cashflow Waterfall. You have your checking account. It has about 1 month's expenses in it. You have your working capital, which has about 2 to 6 months, depending on your business model, expenses in it. And then you have your tax savings separate. And the tax savings are meant to be spent on taxes. So we don't necessarily want to spend that on anything else, right? Notice how it's still meant to be spent just on a particular thing. The working capital, the reason we call it working capital to begin with and not business savings is actually because of this. I wanted to subliminally teach my clients who are using the Cashflow Waterfall that working capital should be working. It is working money. It's like a workhorse. It's not a leisure horse. It's not sit there. It's not reserves. It's not for something later. It is working right now. I'll get clients to this day who are like, I have something, but I don't want to touch my working capital. It's the same thing. I don't want to spend my savings, right? I don't want to touch my working capital because I'm not supposed to, I just hit my 2 months, so I don't want to go below that. And I'll tell them to their face, do you know how many times I've gone to zero in my working capital? And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I use my working capital. And sometimes that means spending it all if it's necessary. And they go, but isn't that bad? Going back to good versus bad, someone who's good with money keeps money in their working capital forever. But a wealthy business owner knows when it's time to use the money. A wealthy business owner knows this is a moment for me to use this money. Either because I had a low cash month and I need to cover bills and I don't want to slash all my team and disrupt the business, or because I have something that is worth investing in. I have something that is worth investing in because it's going to grow my bottom line. Savings are meant to be spent. Same in personal finances. Again, it all just comes down to timing. My emergency fund is meant to be spent on emergencies. Do not be a martyr with emergencies, especially these medical emergencies. I don't know what it is about people, but they don't want to use their emergency fund. Use it. It's there for a reason. It'll save you on interest. Your investment accounts, your retirement accounts are meant to be spent on retirement. I intend to spend a lot of money in my retirement. So what does that mean? I'm going to have to build those accounts to a lot of money. I'm going to have to be a wealthy business owner. And when I am a wealthy business owner, I can grow those accounts and spend a ton of money in my retirement. I do not intend to retire and then try and penny pinch. Money's meant to be spent. Savings are meant to be spent. My investment account, my taxable brokerage account, I have a full separate taxable brokerage account that is invested in the stock market. That money is meant to be spent on me and whatever I desire. I've called it opportunity fund in the past, but that doesn't fit for me right now. It's more just like my fun money. I've used that money to buy clothing. I've used that money to invest in my business. I've used that money to buy a house. I'm going to use that money to buy a house again in the next maybe 2-3 years, depending on timeline. That money's meant to be spent. It's not meant to be sitting in that account. It goes against what I had learned. Remember, I come from the FIRE movement side of things. I come from the spend less, save more. What's your savings ratio? What's your retirement date? I come from all of that. And I had to break all those rules in order to become a wealthy business owner. And now I have these accounts fully funded, and I'm not afraid to spend them on what I want to spend them on. And what that buys me is momentum. It buys me growth. It buys me things that I just desire and like, and it buys me quality of life. And if I had these rigid rules around savings are meant to be saved, I would not have all of that. I would not have all of that. I would not be a wealthy business owner. I would be a person with a safe full of money doing nothing. Remember, it's stored value, right? When we put money into a savings account, it literally is stored value. But if you have no intention for the value you will extract from that, if you don't know what value you want to get out of it, it will do nothing for you. It will do nothing for you. It'll sit there and you will die with a safe full of paper. It's literally a safe full of paper. At this point, it's not even paper. Like most of our money is like digital in our banking apps and whatever. It's literally a screen with a number on it, and we will die without having ever used it to extract the value it can extract. This is a little nuanced, but I do want you to really sit with savings are meant to be spent. The purpose of currency, the purpose of money is to spend it. And that doesn't mean it just gives me carte blanche to go and spend all my money right now, because I want to spend money later too. I want to have money for emergencies, but I don't want you to get into this mentality of hoarding, right? This mentality of holding on. Because the irony is when you have this tendency of holding on tightly, like I got to hold on to my savings tightly, that creates restriction, and that bleeds into other aspects of your life, particularly your business. So going back to, right, being good with money is one thing, being a wealthy business owner is something else. A wealthy business owner, when a business owner is tight, when they're holding tight, they miss out on opportunities. They go into debt for no reason and spend money on interest for no reason. They do not grow their companies because they're holding on tight. They don't want to use their capital, so they're not going to invest in the company and grow it. They're going to stagnate. That is going to hurt your wealth potential. So it's like the irony of you're trying so hard to be good. You're trying so hard to hold on. And the consequence is that you stop growing. And so it bites you in the butt in a roundabout way. I can't tell you how many business owners I've seen where they've hit this income plateau. They're at 180K and maybe they're growing incrementally. I went from 150 to 160 to 180. I'm growing, but barely keeping up with inflation growing. And when I look at their finances, oftentimes they're the person who's holding on to cash. The cash has no job. The cash has no value that's being extracted from it. It's just sitting. And it's doing nothing, and it's hurting the business. This may feel counterintuitive to you. All of these rules that we're breaking throughout this entire series may feel counterintuitive to you, but there is a reason why. It's because we want you to be a wealthy business owner, and wealthy business owners have fat margins. They have big owners' pays. They are building wealth. They are spending savings strategically, and they are growing. They are growing outwards. They're not staying stuck. That is it for saving. We'll see you guys in the next episode.